Bueno, muy buenos días a todos los que se van a esta sesión informativa de Colfuturo. Como ya lo saben, estamos dedicando este espacio a nuestros convenios que otorgan esa anhelada beca del 100% en la matrícula. Especialmente hoy estamos con la Universidad Durham University en Reino Unido y con su representante Nathan Lam, quien nos va a contar información importante sobre la universidad, oferta académica, así como este convenio que les puede otorgar este gran beneficio. Aprovecho también para comentarles que este beneficio no solo otorga la beca del 100%, sino también les puede otorgar un descuento del 20% en el valor de su matrícula. Y que si desean acceder a alguno de ellos, deben hacer su postulación por medio del programa Crédito Beca, cuya convocatoria ya está abierta. Así que tienen hasta el 29 de febrero para llenar su formulario en el Crédito Beca y así hacer parte y poder ser seleccionados de nuestro programa y recibir este beneficio. Así que sin más introducción, voy a darle la palabra a Nathan para que él pueda comentarles toda esta información. Y me gustaría mencionar que aquellos que tengan dudas o preguntas pueden aprovechar la cajita de Q&A, ya que al final vamos a leer cada una de las preguntas que tengan. Y si alguno quiere comunicarse ya directamente con Nathan, también vamos a habilitar el micrófono para que si ustedes lo desean, puedan hacerle su pregunta directamente. Así que muchas gracias a todos de nuevo. And thanks, Nathan, for being here. You can go ahead with your presentation.
Perfect. Thanks a lot, Lady. Thank you, everyone, for joining the call today. Good morning, everyone. So I'm going to talk a bit about Durham University and our partnership with Colfuturo. So if anyone does have any questions, please do put them in the chat so we can talk about them towards the end of the presentation. I will try and stick to around 20 minutes. It might go over a little bit further than that. But yeah, so let's get started. So I'll do a quick introduction to myself. So my name is Nathan Lamb. I'm the International Officer for America. So I help look after applicants from across North and Latin America. So any questions that you do have about applying to Durham University, I can help you from this point right the way through to your arrival in the northeast of England. So I'm just going to start with a quick introduction to Durham University, and then I will talk about our partnership and scholarship options with Colfuturo on the next slide. But Durham University was established in 1832, making us England's third oldest university after Oxford and Cambridge. Much of our university site is part of UNESCO World Heritage Site as well. So if you're looking for a really old city, an old campus with a lot of history within the United Kingdom, then Durham's a really good place to consider. So the cathedral that you can see on the screen here is part of the UNESCO World Heritage Site, and there's a really strong connection between the cathedral and the university. So all of our students at the start of their degree matriculate in the cathedral, and that matriculation ceremony is like a graduation ceremony just at the start of your degree rather than at the end of it. But the specific photograph that you can see here is actually one of our graduation ceremonies. So the graduation ceremony is just finished, and all of the students and their families have come out of the front of the cathedral to have photographs and things. So if you were to come to Durham, you would graduate in the cathedral as well. But the history between the cathedral and the university is so strong because back in 1832, the Bishop of Durham at the time, Bishop Van Mildert, gifted the castle, which he lived in at the time, to the university and helped establish the university. So Durham University was established by the Bishop of Durham. In a similar way to Oxford and Cambridge, we are a collegiate university. And what that means is, on one hand, you would be a member of one of our 27 academic departments. So that includes the Department of Engineering, for example, the Department of Physics, the Department of Philosophy. So depending on your degree program, you would be in one of those 27 academic departments. But all of our students are also a member of one of our 17 colleges of residence. And that college membership forms your social experience at the university on the one hand. That's a really important part of that college membership, but also it's where you will live within your master's degree or PhD if you want to. So it's entirely up to you. But this year we guarantee accommodation within our university managed and owned colleges if you want to live in college. So if you don't want to have to find a privately rented house, you can live within one of our colleges, and they are obviously very close to our academic departments as well. We have just over 20,000 students at the university, so by British university standards, we're sort of medium-sized. At the top end of the scale in the UK is Manchester University and a few others, and I believe they have around 40,000 students. And then at the smaller end, there can be around 10,000 students. So Durham University is sort of average sized, medium sized university. But because of that collegiate system, it means that you are part of a much smaller community of students of around 1,200 students. So you don't feel like one of 20,000 students by any stretch. Around a third of our students are from outside of the United Kingdom as well. So it's a really international university as well. So you certainly wouldn't be one of a small group of international students. There's a lot of international students at the university. We're currently engaged in a £700 million investment into our university site as well, right up until 2027. So that is seeing refurbishment of our science facilities, some of our arts facilities as well, brand new college residences. We've opened up a brand new Department of Computer Science and Department of Mathematical Science. We aim to open up a brand new Faculty of Business building within the next 18 months. So a lot of new buildings and a lot of refurbishment going on as well. So, to talk about our partnership with Futuro and Durham scholarships available to Colombian nationals, so all students who are in receipt of a Futuro funding will receive a 20% discount on their tuition fee for the duration of their program. So, if you are successful with your Futuro application and you hear back from Futuro that you have been successful and that you then want to come to Durham University, we will automatically apply a 20% discount to your tuition fees. One student who has also been successful with their Futuro application will be selected by Durham to receive a 100% tuition fee scholarship. So there's no additional application after your Futuro application to apply for that tuition fee scholarship. So as long as you have applied to Durham and you've received that successful outcome from Futuro, we will include your application within that consideration for that 100% tuition fee scholarship. So it's open to all postgraduate taught and postgraduate research programs, but the 100% scholarship is for a postgraduate taught student. So that would cover a 1 year master's postgraduate taught program. And in terms of the selection criteria, we take into consideration your qualifications, educational history, the grades that you've achieved, but also your personal statement as well. So it's a really holistic view of your application. There will be a panel of staff from across the university who will consider and shortlist the applications, and then they will make the final decision in terms of the 100% tuition fee scholarship. And moving on to our location in terms of where we are within the British Isles. So Durham is within the northeast of England. It's a really pretty part of the country. It's around 3 hours north of London and about 90 minutes south of Edinburgh. So really good transport connections to the city. There's also Newcastle Airport, which is an international airport that you can fly into from Amsterdam or Schiphol Airport, as well as London Heathrow. They're both around an hour away from Newcastle, so really easy to get to Newcastle Airport, and then from Newcastle you can get to Durham in around half an hour to 40 minutes. It's a really pretty country. It's a really pretty city as well, I should say. So lots of history. It's a very safe city as well. And the northeast of England has the most number of castles compared to any region in the UK as well, because of the history of the region. So a lot of history to the region too. So just to give you a feel of what our campus looks like. So this is the more historic side of the campus. So on the left-hand side is Durham Castle. So one of our 17 colleges of residence, which you might be able to live in if you apply to live in college accommodation. On the top right is the College of St Hilda and St Bede, which historically has been the college for teacher training at the university, but is now fully multidisciplinary and takes students from across our full academic range of disciplines. And then at the bottom is St Mary's College, which up until 2005 was an all-women's college, but since then has been completely mixed, and now is a 50-50 split of male to female students as well. And this is the more modern side of our university campus. So the brand new teaching and learning centre, which has state-of-the-art learning and teaching facilities, one of our newly refurbished laboratory spaces there as well. And then on the bottom right-hand side is the outside of the teaching and learning centre as well. And this is just to give you an idea of what the city centre of Durham looks like as well. So Durham is a city centre campus. So this is on your doorstep, essentially. So cobblestone streets, independent bookshops and restaurants. It really is a pretty place to live as a student. As a postgraduate student, if you want to live in a community of 100% postgraduate students, then we have one college that is only for postgraduate students, if that is something that is of interest to you. And on the bottom right-hand photograph on this slide is Eustonov College. So that is that postgraduate college available to you. So in terms of our rankings, we're ranked 78th in the world, so a world top 100 university. We're ranked 6th in the UK, and we have 19 individual subjects ranked within the world top 100 as well. We have 4 faculties. So I've already mentioned that we have 27 individual academic departments, and each of those 27 academic departments sit within one of our 4 academic faculties. So either the business school, arts and humanities, science and social sciences, and health. But we have over 100 postgraduate programs to choose from spread across these 4 faculties. So some individual subject rankings here. We're very highly ranked, top 10 within the world for theology, religion, classics, ancient history, and archaeology. But like I said, we have 19 individual subjects ranked within the world top 100, and 90% of our individual subjects are ranked within the UK top 10. So what we offer at a very, very high level. So the degree structure, all of our master's degrees as standard are 1 year in length. So compare that to an American university where there will be a standard 2 years in length. It's a really efficient way of getting your master's degree, both in terms of time, but also in cost savings as well. So it's a lot more cost and financially efficient than compared to a 2-year program. But students learn through a mix of teaching methods, including lectures, seminars, workshops, and tutorials throughout your postgraduate degree. You need to fulfill 180 credits worth of classes. So classes are generally 20 credits in value. They can be 10 credits. So there will be a mix of classes throughout the academic year, and they're made up of core modules, but also elective modules as well. So those core modules are the classes that every single student within that degree program will take, and the elective modules are those classes that you can select from a longer list. So even though you are taking, let's say, for example, a degree in physics, there will still be an element of choice that you can make within that degree in physics. So admissions, so for Colombian students, we require a GPA as standard of 3.8 out of 5. There are some subject-specific requirements depending on the degree program that you're applying to, but across the board, our GPA requirements would be a 3.8. In terms of English language, we also require English language proficiency tests as well. The most common being IELTS, but I've included the alternatives that we can accept on the screen there as well. Depending on the program that you apply to will also determine the level that you need to achieve within your English language test. So if you have any questions about that, please do send me an email and I can send you the specific requirements for each individual subject. So back to the collegiate experience, we're a collegiate university in a similar way to Oxford and Cambridge, as I've said. It forms your social experience at the university once you arrive in Durham, but potentially more importantly on this call, it is also your accommodation. So if you want to live in university-owned and managed accommodation, you can live within one of our 17 colleges of residence. And you can tell us what your top 3 college choices are. So after you've received your offer from the university, our colleges and accommodation office will get in touch with you for you to be able to tell us what your top 3 college choices are. And hopefully that team will be able to place you in one of those 3 colleges. They will get in touch with you to ask you whether you want membership of that college, which would mean you are a member of that college, but you've decided to live out in Durham City in a private residence. Or the alternative can be membership and accommodation, which means that you're a member of that college, but also that you have decided to live in that college in your master's year as well. So each of our colleges also have their own personality and their own traditions within the college as well. So each of them have formal dinners, whether they wear gowns or not, depends on the college. They also have their own clubs and societies. There tends to be between 40 and 50 clubs and societies within each of the colleges, open to only members of that college. So that really builds a close-knit community of students within that college as well, and between levels too. So there's lots of different factors that you can base your college selection upon, whether you want a self-catered college or fully catered college, it's entirely up to you. The year that the college was founded, so if you want to live in an older college or a newer college, that's something to think about. So the oldest college building is the castle. It's over 1,000 years old. So you can live in a 1,000-year-old castle if you want to, or you can live in a college that was built as recently as 2 years ago, 2 to 4 years ago. You can also look at the number of students there. So if you want to live in a smaller college community or a larger college community, it's entirely up to you. On the right-hand side of the screen here is a map of where all of our colleges are located as well. So the red shields towards the top half of the screen here are all of our Bailey colleges. They tend to be the older colleges in the historic centre of the university site and the city centre. And then the sort of ink coloured shields towards the bottom half of the screen there tend to be the newer colleges. They tend to be a bit larger as well, but they're also closer to many of our departments, such as the law school, the business school at the moment, and lots of our science facilities as well. Durham University is also ranked #1 in the UK for team sport and has been since 2013. So if sport is an important factor to your university decision, then Durham's a really good place to be considering. We have over 700 sports teams across the university, and we've invested £32 million into our sports facilities recently as well. So they really are amongst the best that you will find in the UK. Last year, we were ranked Sports University of the Year as well. So really is a big part of student experience at Durham. If you've never tried rowing, rowing's a really good thing to try at Durham as well. We've got the river that snakes around the university site and the city. So if you've never tried it, I really would recommend giving that a go. We have 27 theatre companies within our university. They put on over 90 student productions per year. We're consistently ranked #1 in the UK for music as well. And we have 84 music societies and 80 concerts are put on a year as well. We're an all Steinway school, so every college across the university has a Steinway piano. We're the largest all Steinway school in the UK, and we have 61 Steinway pianos across the university site as well. So if you play piano or enjoy hearing it, then you probably will at some point during your time at the university. So in addition to the 40 to 50 clubs and societies in each of the colleges, we have over 200 clubs and societies across the university as well, with an 85% participation rate amongst our students. The national average is actually around 55%, so we're a good 30% above that. And that means essentially that most of our students are involved in some form of extracurricular activity. So I wanted to just talk about a few of those extracurricular activities and some of those societies. So one example of which is the Solar Car Challenge and the Solar Car Society. It's been running for over 20 years, has over 50 student members, and each year they build a solar car from scratch. They race it across Australia from Darwin to Adelaide. And this year, the team that built that were the highest ranking European university team. So we're very, very proud of the team that built that solar car this year. But it's something that is really good to be able to put on your CV to talk about in job interviews as well. And it's a really fantastic achievement. Another one that I like to talk about is the Durham University Charity Fashion Show Society. It's been running for over 40 years and it's raised over £1 million since 2013, and it's Europe's largest and most profitable student-led charity event. So if you're interested in fundraising or project management or leadership, then this kind of society might not necessarily seem like the most obvious choice, but the kinds of things that you will be involved in is really good to be able to talk about with potential jobs and employers in the future too. Volunteering and outreach is a big part of university life as well. So we have 50 student-led community projects that you can select from per year. And each year, over 40,000 hours of student time is donated as well. In 2020, Durham was awarded the Queen's Award for Voluntary Service, which is the highest award given to community volunteering in the UK. And then support at the university. We are a really supportive university community. Your college will be your first point of contact throughout your degree. You will be welcomed to the university on day one by members of your college. There's a dedicated student support team within your college. And then at a university level, we have a dedicated counselling service. You'll receive an academic tutor within your department. There's also a chaplaincy service and disability support service as well. And then careers. So we're ranked 54th globally for employer reputation. So international employers really do understand the value of a Durham degree. And we have a dedicated international student employability program. So if you decide that you don't want to remain in the UK after you graduate, we have a dedicated team who can help you with applications to overseas opportunities. And then once you graduate and become a part of that alumni community, we have over 200,000 alumni globally. It's a lifelong association with the university, and we provide lifelong career support as well. So even 10 years after you graduate, the university can help you if you want to change career path as well. We also put on regular networking events in numerous countries across the world for you to reconnect with the university and meet other alumni from Durham University as well. So that is it for the presentation element of today's event. So I'll hand back over to Lady, but thank you for listening to the presentation.
Yeah, so first of all, thank you so much, Nathan, for being here and for the presentation. We're gonna go ahead with the questions, but I wanna mention that if you wanna talk to Nathan, you can raise the hand and I will activate the mic so you can talk to him. So if you wanna raise the hand, you can go ahead. I'm gonna start with Paula Uribe. Ella pregunta, ¿la beca del 100% es para todos o solo para los que pertenecen al semillero? Esta la respondo de parte de Colfuturo porque esta beca no es para los semilleros de talentos, sino es para cualquier persona. Entonces, el 100%, cualquier persona que se postule al crédito beca puede participar por este beneficio. Then I'm gonna go ahead with Alejandra. She's raising the hand, so give me 1 second and I will activate your mic. Yes, you can go ahead, Alejandra.
Yeah, first, thank you so much for the presentation. It was really enlightening. I wanted to ask about the specific requirements for international students other than the language requirements. Is there about personal recommendation letters or just language requirement and the personal statement? Thank you.
Thanks, Alejandra. That's a fantastic question. And thank you for sitting through the presentation as well. So in terms of academic and other entry requirements, so we'll require your 3.8 GPA within your bachelor's degree. We will also require the English language proficiency test that you've mentioned as well. And then in terms of your application, in addition to that, there will be a personal statement or a statement of purpose. So talk about why you're interested in the program, what kinds of preparation you've done for the program, if your bachelor's degree relates to the postgraduate program that you're applying to, talk about that as well. Potentially which aspects of the degree you're most interested in, what you see your career aspirations looking like. So that's the kind of thing that you can talk about in your statement of purpose or personal statement. Historically, Durham has asked for 2 academic references we no longer require references. I believe that the application form still does have a references section on it. We're working to have that removed, but don't worry about uploading those immediately to your application. We don't need references for the vast majority of our degrees now. So don't worry about that. But thank you. That's a really good question.
Well, then I'm gonna go ahead with Juan. He's asking, hello, I would like to understand when they mention upper second class honors degree that they refer to. How much would it be in the grades that we have in Colombia that are calculated out of 5? Thank you.
Yep, absolutely. That would be a 3.8 out of 5.
Then we're gonna go with Edward. So, yeah, you can go ahead, Edward.
Good morning. Nathan, can you hear me?
Yes, I can, Edward.
Yes, thank you so much. Good morning, everyone. Yes, my question is about accommodations. I'm in the middle of applying for the Colfuturo scholarship, and there is a section right there which is dedicated to this point. And everything has to be converted in US dollars. And I would like to know if I can have an appointment with you so that you can give me further information about how to fill in this part of the application form.
Yes, absolutely. So if you would like to book an appointment with me, I've got my email address on the screen there. So if you email latin.america@durham.acu.uk, I can go through all of our fees for the colleges, for the accommodation, also for the tuition fees as well, if that's required for your application as well. So I can certainly talk about that with you.
And the availability is from Monday to Friday.
That's right, yes. So typically the calendar should be Monday to Friday. So I can send you a link to my calendar and you'll be able to hopefully you'll be able to find an appointment that suits your availability. But if there isn't any availability that suits you, then just let me know and I can have a look at my own calendar and suggest an alternative.
Thank you, Nathan. The second one, right?
Yes,
One
that's
that is
right.
at the
Yeah,
bottom. Okay, thank you. Thank you so
that's
much.
okay. No problem. Thanks, Edward.
We're gonna go with Lina. She's asking, what's the difference between MBA and the other programs that are covered by this scholarship? I didn't understand that part.
So let me just go back to just so I know what is being referenced. So with the exception of MBA programs, so essentially it's excluding MBA programs. So the scholarship availability doesn't apply to our MBA program.
Yeah. Good. We're gonna go with Joaquin. So let me allow to talk. Yes, you can go ahead, Joaquin.
Thank you. Thank you, Nathan, for the presentation. I have one question. For the selection criteria to the 100% tuition fee scholarship, you review the personal statement that we sent to Durham or the personal statement that we sent to Colfuturo?
So we will primarily look at your personal statement that you send to Durham. So that is the one that we will read. So we're interested in your interest in the program, which aspects you're most interested in, and your career aspirations as well. So it's really good to weave in as much detail as you possibly can into your application to Durham, because that will be what we are looking at.
Another little question. I already have the card of the a letter of Durham to accept me for the program, but I don't already apply to Futuro. There is something different in the process taking into account this particular case. Like I already have that, like the letter of Durham.
So if I understand correctly, Raheem, there isn't any different eligibility criteria or anything in particular that we're looking for within your Durham application that you need to specify as part of that 100% tuition fee scholarship? Is that what you were asking?
Yeah. That
Okay,
was the question.
Okay.
Thank you.
No problem. Thank you.
Okay, good. So I'm gonna go with Alejandra. She's asking, should it be possible to stay after finishing the master's degree and get a job, at least for a couple of months or a year?
Yep. So in the UK, so you would apply for your Tier 4 student visa. So that student visa will cover your the full length of your course, essentially. So for postgraduate taught programs, that would be 1 year as standard. And that's your student visa. So while you are a student at Durham, you can work for up to 20 hours per week during term time. Outside of term time, so for example, the Easter holidays, you're able to work full time. And then if you want to remain in the UK after you've graduated, you can apply for a graduate visa. So that will change from student visa into graduate visa, and that would allow you to remain in the UK for up to 2 years, and you can work in any industry that you're interested in. So there is an additional short application for that, but if you want to remain in the UK, there is provision and there's a pathway for that.
Voy a responder la pregunta de Daniel y es la fecha para Colfuturo. Recuerden que la convocatoria abrió el 9 de enero y va a cerrar el 29 de febrero. Así que ese es el lapso máximo para que envíen su postulación. Y en caso de ser seleccionados por Colfuturo, enviaremos su nombre, en este caso, a la universidad para que ellos, con su criterio que ya Neita nos ha mencionado, puedan seleccionar la persona que se va a ganar esa beca del 100%. Well, this one you already talked about it, but Danielle is asking, what should be the profile of the winner of the 100% scholarship like? What so you take into account the most?
So I wouldn't say that we put more emphasis on one thing over another. So I couldn't say that we put 60% consideration into qualifications and 40% into the personal statement. It really is reviewed as a whole, and we look at every student's full application as a whole. So we will look at your qualifications and education and the grades that you've achieved, as well as the detail that you're putting in your personal statement as well. So it really is a discussion between the panelists in terms of which applicant we think would benefit the most from that 100% scholarship. So it's hard to be able to say what you should focus more on, but I would say that you should just make your application and each aspect of it as strong as it possibly can be, because every element of that application will be taken into consideration when the panel is deciding who is going to be the successful recipient of the 100% tuition fee scholarship. So everything's taken into consideration. There's no difference in terms of weighting between the aspects and the determining criteria either.
I'm gonna go with Juan. He's asking about the GPA. So, for example, if the GPA is less than 3.8, what is the suggestion? They should apply or do not apply for the program?
It really depends on how close to the academic entry requirements you are. There may be a level of flexibility that our admissions team can exercise, but it really depends on which program that you're applying to, how competitive that individual program is, how many students have applied. If you're very, very close, there can be that level of flexibility. But really, what I would say is that if it's below a 3.8, then it's more unlikely that you would get an offer, because those are our academic entry criteria. And for us to be confident that we are that you're capable of the academic rigor and the challenge of the degree, we need to know that you are working at that level.
Then we have Nicolas. He's asking, at the moment of application, do the transcript have to be official translations?
Yes, yes. So we do require official translations. There are specific requirements for those translations as well, but they will be sent out to you and specified. So there are specific requirements for the translations of certificates and transcripts that you will need to abide by to ensure that the university can accept those.
Okay. Next one, we have Carlos. Hi, Nathan. Just to know how many Colombian students are in Durham right now.
That's a good question. I'm not 100% sure how many Colombian students are in Durham at the moment, but I can certainly follow up and find out. If you'd like to book an appointment with me, I can certainly share how many Colombian students we have on campus at the moment. But off the top of my head, I'm not 100% sure actually.
Then we're going to go with Juan Alejandro. I would like to ask about the psychology PhD program scholarships available, if we can choose the topic study or if the program offers specific fields. Thank you.
So PhDs in general are very flexible. So the way to apply to a PhD would be to look on our individual department websites, have a look at the academic members of staff that work within that department, see what their individual research interests are, and once you find an academic whose own research interests align with the area of research that you want to conduct, get in touch with that member of staff. Talk about your proposal. They will let you know their thoughts on that proposal and tell you whether they feel as though they could support that and supervise you throughout that PhD. And then once you've done that, and once you're confident you have found an advisor or a PhD supervisor rather, that is when we would encourage you to make a formal application to the university. So it's all about making that informal approach and an informal application essentially to the university initially. But PhDs are incredibly flexible because you tell us which area of research you want to conduct. So you would decide the research area essentially. In terms of scholarships, there are departmental specific scholarships outside of Culfuture that we're talking about today, but it really depends on the college that you're applying to. So there's college level scholarships. There's also departmental scholarships as well. So I'd recommend looking at the websites for the individual colleges that you're most interested in applying to, but also the psychology department specifically as well may have some scholarships too.
Good. Thank you. Bueno, voy con las preguntas de Margarita que van más dirigidas a futuro. La primera de ellas es si ya fue seleccionada para el crédito beca en el 2023. ¿Es posible participar en la beca del 100% para este año con Durham? La respuesta es que depende, porque en este caso, como le hemos mencionado, es únicamente una beca que se otorga en cada convocatoria y este año vamos a enviar los seleccionados 2024 quienes van a tener prioridad para este proceso de selección. También vamos a enviar los seleccionados 2023, pero pues en este caso, como lo acabo de mencionar, va a tener prioridad los que fueron seleccionados en la convocatoria actual. La segunda, this one is for Nathan. It's about the IELTS exam, and she says that she has a 6.5. So she wants to know if that's acceptable.
It really depends on the program that you're applying to. So each of our programs have different IELTS requirements. So for example, law has a 7.0 requirement. So it depends on if you're applying to law, that would be lower than what we would require. For other programs, a 6.5 is acceptable. So it really depends on the program that you're applying to.
Kristen is asking, is there any way we can get this presentation?
Yes, absolutely. I can share that with you, lady, and then if you're able to share that, that would be great. Alternatively, if you would like to get in touch with me directly, I can certainly share it with participants. So if you'd like to receive this presentation, I can send it to you by email, certainly.
Thank you. I think you already mentioned that, but Jefferson is asking about the PhD programs, if the university is the one that assigned the supervisor.
So So as I mentioned a little bit earlier, the way that you will be assigned a supervisor is actually for you to find your intended supervisor initially. So again, if you look on the department website, have a look at the profiles of our academic staff on there and get in touch with them directly so that they're aware of your application. And then on the application, you will suggest which supervisor you think would be best suited for your PhD research. So yes, essentially.
Bueno, voy con la pregunta de Alejandra. Son dos ensayos diferentes, es decir, Colfuturo en su postulación al crédito beca te pide un ensayo enfocado en 3 preguntas, que es tu perfil, por qué escogiste el programa y tu proyecto de vida. Entonces sí son dos documentos totalmente diferentes que puede que compartan ideas en común, pero no es lo mismo. Andrés, he's asking, what is the deadline for applying to a TOEFL program?
So so for postgraduate programs, we don't have a hard deadline. We will start, it's rolling applications basically. But I would recommend as soon as you know which program that you're interested in, I would say start your application and submit that application, because from now we will start to close applications. Sorry, we will start to close programs if we receive enough applications to fill those programs with qualified applicants. So if you know that you want to apply to a business program or a law program or any others, I would say start your application as soon as you're confident that you want to apply to that program and you want to apply to Durham. So there's not a hard deadline, but I would say the sooner you apply, the better.
Then we're gonna go with Daniela. Bueno, esta la va a responder de parte de Colfuturo. Ella pregunta, ¿cuándo la universidad anuncia al estudiante que se ganó la beca del 100%? Este proceso empieza cuando se dan los resultados de la selección de Colfuturo, que es el 16 de mayo del 2024. Ese día ustedes van a recibir el correo de que fueron seleccionados o en tal caso no seleccionados. Ya con esos nombres nosotros enviamos la lista a la universidad, que como ya lo mencioné, enviamos los seleccionados del año 2024 y los seleccionados del año 2023 y 2022. Ya a partir de esa fecha, la universidad se encarga de hacer su proceso, que ya Neita nos ha hablado un poco sobre ello. Y conforme ellos hagan ese proceso, nos envían un correo de vuelta con el nombre de la persona que recibió esa beca. Entonces depende más que todo de la universidad, pero usualmente tiende a ser una semana o 15 días que se demoran en enviarnos este resultado, que finalmente es enviado de nuevo a sus correos electrónicos. We're gonna go with Edward. He's asking about your email address, Nathan. So maybe if you can. Okay, it's there on the screen. Yeah, that's the email address. Well, Judy's asking about the English requirement. We already talked about it. So maybe I would say that the advice is that you have to check the program, so you will see what's the English requirement for that specific program.
Yeah.
I don't know if you can help me with Nicola's question. It's really long, so maybe it's better if you read it.
Okay. In case we are interested in doctoral training partnerships, should we discuss that first with the potential supervisor, or should we email separately to the it's just jumped up. The doctoral training program, partnership program, in my case, Durham. Yeah, so I would recommend discussing that with your supervisor to begin with. They will be able to talk to you about potential funding as well. But yeah, I think talking about your research, the research area, your research proposal, potential funding, all in that conversation, I think that's a good place to start. And they might have other potential places that they can suggest that you seek funding as well.
Okay, Christian's asking about your email, that you can see it on the screen. Juan Guerrero. Okay, this one is that, like, do you take into account programs different from the undergraduate? Like, for example, if they have a specialization or a certificate, do you take into account that GPA?
So if you've done a slightly different qualification, if it's considered a postgraduate program, what I would recommend is sharing that with me by my email address. I can have a look at that. I can talk to colleagues about that, and we can review that. So that we can see whether it is of the level that we would equate to what we ask for. But yeah, I can certainly have a look at that for you if you want to send that to me, Juan.
Bien. Voy con la pregunta de Sebastián. Se aplicó el crédito beca de Colfuturo en 2024, pero no. Al ingreso de la universidad puedo postularme a la beca del 100% si paso a la universidad en 2025. Pasa lo que ya mencioné previamente. Si se postulan este año a Colfuturo con el programa y son seleccionados por Colfuturo, vamos a enviar su nombre a la universidad. Ya la universidad, si hace el proceso de revisión y se da cuenta que ustedes aún no están admitidos, pues no los va a tener en cuenta en el proceso de la beca del 100%. Sin embargo, si el próximo año, en el 2025, nosotros enviamos de nuevo esta lista con su nombre y ustedes ya tienen admisión, la universidad puede entrar a revisar si les puede otorgar la beca del 100%. Sin embargo, como les decía, siempre va a tener prioridad la convocatoria actual. Es decir, que en el 2025 se va a dar prioridad a los seleccionados de ese año. Y en caso que de los seleccionados de ese año de pronto no esté la persona que la universidad contempla para este beneficio, se puede tener en cuenta los del año anterior. Next one. Carlos pregunta, if I have a recommendation letter, even if it is not mandatory to submit, will it give you more chances to be selected by Durham to a Master of Science program?
No. So because we don't require it of all of our applicants now, it wouldn't be fair for us to give an advantage to applicants who then do submit a recommendation letter. So it's not required. You don't need to submit that, and we would base your admission or successful offer, if you were to receive one, on the other elements of your application. So your qualifications and your personal statement would primarily form the decision-making process. Yeah.
And the last question is from Judy. Esta es para Colfuturo. Ella pregunta, ¿estoy en el exterior en este momento temporalmente? ¿Para aplicar debo estar en Colombia? No, todo el proceso es virtual, así que pueden aplicar desde cualquier parte del mundo sin ningún problema. Okay, so I guess we do not have more questions. So I don't know if you can give us like a piece of advice, Nathan, before like finishing the session.
Yeah, that's a good question. So in terms of pieces of advice, I would say, although one of my other recommendations was, once you know the subject and the university that you want to apply to it, to make sure that you can apply to the program, I would say still take your time. Consider whether Durham is the right place for you, and consider whether the program that you're applying to is the right program for you. If you decide to apply to us, we want you to be happy at the university and we want you to enjoy the program. So do take your time. Please do reach out to me to talk about things further. I can do a one-to-one appointment and talk about things in detail with you. So this is a big decision to be making. So make sure that you're confident in the decisions that you're making, but we're here to help you with that. So please do use myself and my colleagues as resources to support you.
Yeah, so thanks again, Nathan. Thanks everyone for being here, and we see you like in the other time. Thanks again.
Thanks everyone. Bye-bye.